It was the cleverest escape in the prison's 30 years. The men who broke out of Alcatraz with a spoon. In June 1962, inmates Clarence Anglin, John Anglin, and Frank Morris escaped from Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary, a maximum security prison located on Alcatraz Island in San Francisco Bay, California, United States. Late on the night of June 11 or early morning of June 12, the three men Frank Morris, John and Clarence Anglin and Alan West, tucked papier-mâché model heads resembling their own likenesses into their beds, broke out of the main prison building via ventilation ducts in an unguarded utility corridor, and departed the island aboard an improvised inflatable raft to an uncertain fate. A fourth conspirator, Alan West, failed in his escape attempt and remained on the island, San Francisco Bay, to see the infamous prison island of Alcatraz. Nicknamed the Rock, the federal penitentiary had held some of the most dangerous criminals in the U.S. It was regarded as an impregnable fortress. But in the early hours of June 12, 1962, three men achieved what was thought impossible: they escaped. Alcatraz had originally been a naval defense fort to protect the entrance to the bay. During the U.S. Civil War, because of the island's isolation, steep cliffs, and the swift, cold currents that surrounded it, captured Confederate prisoners were held there. Early in the 20th century it was rebuilt as a military prison. In the 1930s, as the U.S. tried to deal with rampant organized crime that flourished during Prohibition, the Department of Justice took it over. All the men knew each other from previous stints in prisons together, and since they had adjoining jail cells, they were able to speak to each other at night. With Morris taking the lead, the four prisoners began to concoct an elaborate and audacious plan to escape. Over a period of several months, the men chiseled away at the salt-damaged concrete around the air vent under their sinks. Using metal spoons purloined from the dining hall, a drill made from a vacuum cleaner motor, and discarded saw blades, they dug through to an unguarded utility corridor. To mask the noise of the drill, Morris would play his accordion during the daily hour set aside when music was played to the prisoners. Once they had created a hole large enough to crawl through to the corridor, they climbed up to the empty top level of the cell block and set up a secret workshop. To hide the cell wall holes, they fashioned fake papier-mâché grills from prison library magazines. Once they were in their workshop, they set about constructing a 6-by-14-foot makeshift rubber raft and life vests made from more than 50 stolen raincoats. To seal the rubber, they melted it using the prison's hot steam pipes. They then converted a concertina into a tool to inflate the raft and fashion paddles out of bits of plywood. But while they worked, they needed to conceal their absence from the guards who periodically made nighttime checks. So, they sculpted papier-mâché versions of their heads from soap, toothpaste, and toilet paper. To make them look more realistic, they used real hair from the prison barbershop floor and painted them in flesh tones using stolen art supplies. These they would then place in their beds, with bundles of clothes and towels under their blankets in the shape of their bodies to make it look like they were asleep. As they worked on their makeshift escape gear, they were also looking for a way out. Using plumbing piping as steps, they climbed 30 feet, 9.1 meters, and prized open the ventilator at the top of a shaft. They crafted a fake bolt out of soap to keep it in place. Although the prisoners escaped the prison, the authorities concluded they must have perished in treacherous waters attempting to leave the island. Alcatraz prison shut down in 1963, a year after the men's escape. Partly this was due to its deteriorating structure and the expense of running it, but the prison's severe regime had also long been subject of controversy. As for the three escapees, despite no bodies ever being found in the bay, in 1979 they were declared legally dead. The FBI closed its case and turned over responsibility to the U.S. Marshals Service. In 2018, San Francisco police revealed they had been sent a mysterious letter 5 years earlier from someone claiming to be John Anglin. The letter read, "I escaped from Alcatraz in June 1962. Yes, we all made it that night, but barely." The letter maintained that the men had lived on in secret, with Frank Morris dying in October 2005, and Clarence Anglin in 2008. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.